lifting up Jesus, opening His Word from Australia, Denmark, Israel, Japan, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Singapore, South Africa, United Kingdom, Thailand, the Philippines, United States, and throughout the world. You're watching Moriel TV.
Hi, this is Tim of Moriel TV and Moriel Radio. I'm here live with Jacob Prasch from England. And Jacob, the question was, you and I were both former Roman Catholics, and we know that they teach a false gospel. Well, why did God use Catholic priests, or did He, to put together the canon?
First of all, the canon of the Old Testament was decided not by my Catholic ancestors, but by our Jewish ones. At the Council of Yavne, there was a formal arrangement of the Hebrew scriptures into a literary unit called the Tanakh, Torah, Navim, Ketuvim. That was at the Council of Yavne, and it had nothing to do with Christians. The New Testament canon, however, was decided in its final form officially at the Council of Nicaea. But that was based on the following criteria to decide what was canonical and what wasn't. What did the apostles say and know and teach to be canonical? Does it have apostolic authority? That is the basis of the New Testament canon. Later on, in order to sell indulgences, the Roman Catholic Church would take the apocryphal books and add them to the canon in the 11th century to finance the construction projects of the Renaissance. Because there's no such teaching as purgatory in the New Testament, but there is a verse in the Apocrypha that says it's good to pray for the dead. That became their basis for purgatory and for the sale of indulgences to finance the construction of the Vatican and so forth. So, in that sense, the Catholic Church did establish the canon, but it's a false canon. The apocryphal books, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, 1st and 2nd Enoch, and so forth, they are biblically important history and literature, as is the Didache. They are biblically important history and literature, but they are not canon. They are not canon. In other words, they're not a basis to derive or establish doctrine from. Nothing to do with the authority to establish doctrine. They're important historically and from a literary perspective to understand the scriptures, but they're not a basis of doctrine themselves. It is this and only this that Roman Catholic priests made canonical. Now let's go back to the Council of Nicaea. The books of the New Testament as we have them were commonly held to be canonical before Nicaea. Constantine made it official. There were people who were denying the Trinity, there were people who were introducing Gnostic Gospels, and there was a consensus that we had to have a unified body of Scripture for the New Testament. Constantine, being politically motivated, seeing Christianity as a way to hold together his fragmenting empire, pushed the idea of a formal New Testament canon as we have it now in an arranged form, even though those books were held to be inspired by the faithful church before the Council of Nicaea. The Roman Catholic Church did not even exist yet. The Greek Orthodox Church did not even exist yet. The development of Roman Catholicism incipiently was with Constantine, but only incipiently, and with those of his era, such as Augustine of Hippo, and those who influenced Augustine of Hippo, such as Ambrose of Milan and Cyprian of Carthage. The roots of Roman Catholicism began to emerge at that time, but as an institution, the Roman Church had not yet emerged. Constantine bequeathed the imperial properties in Rome to the bishop in Rome. Things were in position, politically and so forth, for the papacy to emerge, but it had not yet emerged. Then came the Emperor Justinian. He made further changes that paved the way for the emergence of Roman Catholicism. But the Roman Catholic Church as such, as we think of it today, did not really begin until the time of Pope Gregory the Great, Gregory the First. He really began Roman Catholicism with the Petrine primacy and so forth, the way it's taught today. But don't forget also, the Roman Catholic Church, even then and for centuries to the Middle Ages, was not what it is now, despite their claim. It was basically reinvented at the Council of Trent in response to the Reformation. Many of the hallmarks of Roman Catholicism now did not come into place until the aftermath of the Reformation and the Counter-Reformation and the Council of Trent. Then there was the first, not the second, but the First Vatican Council. That was held in the mid-19th century, 1854, where the Pope was proclaimed to be infallible when he spoke ex cathedra. That was not held until the 1850s. Roman Catholicism mutated and evolved over a period of centuries. But institutionally, it did not yet even exist at the time the canon was agreed. The church had nothing to do with the Old Testament canon. That was set by Israel and the Jews. The New Testament canon was set effectively by the apostles before the Roman Catholic Church existed. Roman Catholicism and Greek Orthodoxy and Protestantism have philosophical roots in the patristic era and the Church Fathers. That is true. But the institution itself did not even exist at the time the New Testament canon was formulated and made official.